Hey, what's up, Internet? It is the end of the second day of Scourge League, and I figured I'd make another video going over today's progress. Now, at the end of the last video, I mentioned that I was going to try and switch over to Siege Ballistae, and that was the first thing I did today when I got on. I had the same gear from the end of the last video, so I had like I had the same Iron Commander and the Fractal Thoughts, which I wasn't wearing at the time. I had the basic version of this, which is the Hiri's Bite Quiver, and the rest of it was rares, I think. I definitely didn't have these gloves, and I had some rare boots and stuff, and I think I was still on a 5-link. I had a lucky 5-link drop in Act 9 that I was still using. And I had the Rain of Splinters too. I think I bought that. It was like the first or second thing I bought. But otherwise, I didn't have much going, and we still didn't really have any issues. I mean, it was only white maps, but it seemed like it was a step up, even at that point, from continuing to play Caustic Arrow and Toxic Rain Ballistas. And somewhere along the way, I think it was like in a tier 4 map, I had an Exalt drop. And it was worth like 65 chaos or something at the time. And I decided to just immediately invest it back into the character. And I think it paid off pretty well. Like the Garakon's Flight, which are in the PoB, these are like, they were 20C when I bought them. The upgrade to the quiver cost me like 12C. Astramentis, I paid 20 chaos for, 20 or 21 because I bought it via cards. And the chess piece, which is an interesting story. You might have seen the videos by now of people figuring out how the tainted fusings work. These are so easy to make because of how the tainted fusing and the Blood Crucible works. I wasn't 100% certain last video how this worked, and I noticed before, like I mentioned in that last video, how if you have like a 3-link and a 3-link, that it goes from a 3 to a 4 and not like just links the two, 3-link islands. But that still means a 5-link if this procs, which is a 15% chance to add a link to the largest group. If it is a 5-link, the only thing it can do is go up to a 6-link, right? But there's also the tainted fusing. I don't have one on me to show you anymore, but basically what that one does is it's literally a 50-50 to whether it either adds a link or subtracts a link. So if you use it on a 5-link, it's literally 50-50 whether it goes up to a 6-link. For one piece of currency, that's pretty good. I think a lot of people have figured this out because the price of 6-links is all over the place on trade right now. The way that I made this one, I actually got this as a drop. It wasn't scourged. It was like a 4-link, and I colored it. It was a 4-link 6-socket, so I colored it and I crafted that cold res. And I thought, well, I'll throw it in the Krangle box and see if this procs to move it up to 5-link, and it did on the first Scourge. So I took it out and I threw one tainted fusing at it that I had, and it turned into a 6-link. So day 2 we got a 6-link for the total cost of like, I don't know, 6 chaos or something. And this has been the experience of a lot of people, I think. Definitely try to use that to your advantage. The tainted fusings might continue to go up in price, but you can always use, they can't go up that far because you can always use the Blood Crucible to get a 15% chance every time you scourge something to go from 5 to 6. So the 5-link rarity is going to kind of bottleneck how far the price of that can get out of control. But yeah, so now we've got the Astramentis, we've got the upgraded Hiri's Demise, the Garakon's Flight. There's still some stuff that we need to do, right? Like, I would really like to get my 6-link moved from the chess piece over to my bow, which is why I've got this 5-link here colored and ready to go, hopefully, right? Because if I can get the 6-link to my bow, that'll open me up to being able to get Hiri's Ire on my chess piece. And I don't really care at that point, as long as my bow has a 6-link. If Frenzy has a 4-link or a 5-link or a 6-link, it doesn't really matter that much. So I don't really need another 6-link in my body. my body armor for a long time. So we gotta do that. We'd like to get some lab enchants on stuff. I've got to finish getting a couple of gems. Obviously we have a lot of gem levels, things like that. I gotta fix my flasks. It's only day 2, but everything seems to be going pretty swimmingly at this point. And really, it hasn't cost me very much. I think to get this kind of smoothness at a freezing pulse would have cost more, for sure. Even in like Ultimatum, like prior to 3.15. Now this is like a tier 7 map, I think. 74. And at this point, even my yellow map progress is like, it feels pretty face roll, right? I don't even feel terribly concerned about, like you would think maybe at 3,900 health I would feel like a little bit squishier, but it hasn't been too much of an issue. I've died, I think, twice on this character, and both times they were really early in the day and I was running, you know, just whatever maps I could get my hands on, and a couple of them were you know, like crit damage or something like that, and those can be pretty easy to die on when you have like 3,300 health. But I haven't really had to skip the Scourge mechanic, and at this point I tend to be refilling it and running it until about 80 to 100 stacks, and I haven't really had too many close calls even. I will say the totems seem to be really good for this mechanic because they stay where they are when you phase in and out. So if I put my totems down here, right, and then we phase. So first off, I'm pretty safe as soon as I jump in because there's a bunch of totems surrounding me. But I'm going to run forward here a bit and I'm going to put a bunch of totems down to clear ahead, right? And then I'm going to go back. My totems are still ahead of me, and so they're clearing out some of this stuff, right, before I even get there. So unlike some people who, like some of these builds have to clear twice, basically, it kind of feels like I only have to clear, I don't know, 1.5 times because my totems are, you know, staying ahead of me. You do have to be a little bit careful. I will say this mechanic is going to be rippy. Like, as we get further, I'm really going to need to try and continue to keep my defense scaling. So this is part of why I want this Hiri's Ire sooner than later. It's going to add, oh, that's going to hurt. Whew. That was a nasty poison. The life flask changes actually saved my life there. That is, I would say, the one thing that you have to be a little bit careful of are poison and ignite dots. If you get large of either one of those on you, then it's particularly poison, right? Because usually it's chaos. That is your weakest to resist. So be mindful of that for a while. I'm not sure if I will go for like some way to just completely avoid ignite and then just do something for poison on my flasks, or just try to get more chaos res or something. I'm not 100% sure on how I'm going to mitigate that in the long run, but you can see like pretty much the only thing right now that I have to pay much attention to are dots. Being able to surround yourself with a big pile of totems really does make jumping into these Scourge things. Ouch, 35 shock. That is one other thing I wanted to mention. There is a particular type of enemy in Scourge that has proven very dangerous. And I can't, like, there's usually so much going on, I can't necessarily pick out like which enemy it is. It doesn't seem like one of the really large enemies. Some, like, it looks like it seemed like it was humanoid size, I guess. But they have an unavoidable shock attack. Like it's like a hit scan style attack, you know, where it just like tethers a lightning bolt to you, And that's really dangerous. So I would be a little bit careful if you have like no shock mitigation or no shock flask, because there's actually no way to not get hit. you will take the shock, and if there's like a big clump of them right when you zone in and they're not dead by the time that stun wears off, you can sometimes take like really big shock spikes, because 7 or 8 of them will all shoot at once, and there's not much you can do about it, right? You literally can't dodge it. There's no juking it. So be a little bit careful when you zone in, like every time you switch from reality into nightmare, that you put down some fresh totems to trigger. If you have the taunt mastery, you definitely want to try and get as many of them hitting totems instead of you, because otherwise, if they're not frozen, they might just blow you up. But yeah, that's where we're at on day 2. 4 watchstones. I think the only, we haven't done a Maven invitation up here. I think I just picked it up. Why don't we go do it while I'm still recording? Oh, we can also try to transform this. Well, deal no cold damage is kind of a non-starter, so I guess we'll leave that one in the Krangle box and hope that tier 2 gives us something more usable. I don't think any of the Maven encounters at this level are going to be a big deal. Oh, watch the totem. He's going to do his little pulse. Who's this? Oh, that's the woman for the feather in Act 9, right? So Haywork. I probably won't stare at this too long. It's probably either Betrayal or Harvest. I think for now, those are both pretty juicy. I think for now we'll go with Harvest though, because I don't really want to sit up here. Like, Betrayal doesn't require a lot of active investment running up into one zone. And if I'm going to do that, I kind of want to do that in, I think it's Lyra. Yeah, for Expedition. This is going to be Expedition and Heist, both of which I really like. So I'm going to be down there most of the time when I'm running chain running maps. But anyway, that's where we're at. We're gonna have to redo that one. And otherwise, I don't think we're gonna be having too many issues. I expect tomorrow I'll probably end somewhere between like 90 to 92, depending on how much time I have to play and whether I run a bunch of maps that kill me or something. But gear wise, if we get decently lucky on the bow, we can just slot a random Hiri's Ire here, get a bunch of free armor, a lot of damage from the added cold on the chest piece, and that'll probably carry us into our gem levels, and that'll carry us in turn into red maps, I think, and then Sirius not long after, I suppose. But let's not count our chickens before they're hatched, I guess. Anyway, if you want to keep tabs on my progress, you can find me at twitch.tv/WallachTV. I'll be streaming for a while. I'm enjoying myself, so I expect to be streaming Path of Exile for the foreseeable future. Otherwise, you can just catch me here on YouTube. Do me a favor and click all those YouTube buttons. YouTube loves it when you do that stuff. And I'll see you guys next video. Peace.